After pacifying Greece and reinforcing the borders of the Macedonian kingdom, Alexander finally turned his focus to the goal he had dreamed of since his youth: the invasion of Asia and the conquest of the mighty Persian Empire. His army, now assembled in Pella, buzzed with excitement and anticipation for the great adventure about to begin. Alexander left Macedonia under the rule of the experienced general Antipater, a highly respected Macedonian commander and statesman who had served faithfully and competently during the reign of Philip II. Renowned for his strategic skill, political wisdom, and firm leadership, Antipater was seen as the ideal choice to govern Macedonia in Alexander's absence. He was entrusted with the crucial mission of maintaining internal stability, repelling any invasions, and suppressing revolts that might threaten the kingdom's security and integrity during the young king's prolonged absence. Before his departure, many advisors urged Alexander to marry and produce a legitimate heir, to secure the succession of the Macedonian throne and prevent future succession crises. This concern was well-founded, given the high risk of instability that could arise if Alexander were killed or incapacitated during his military campaign. The absence of a clear heir could trigger fierce disputes among the Macedonian nobles and generals, potentially plunging the kingdom into civil war and political fragmentation. Dynastic continuity was essential not only to preserve internal order, but also to ensure that conquered territories remained under Macedonian control, safe from internal uprisings or external invasions. However, Alexander, impatient and driven by a sense of urgency, categorically refused. He firmly believed that the time to act was now, and that success in his Asian campaign would naturally solidify his position and resolve the succession issue over time. Ignoring his advisors' cautious concerns and completely consumed by his desire to conquer and immortalize his name, he decided to set off immediately with his army toward Asia, implicitly accepting the risks of not having a legitimate heir to the throne. On the other side of the Hellespont stretched the vast and opulent Persian Empire, a superpower that held economic and military dominance from Asia Minor to India. With its capital in Persepolis, the Persian Empire controlled a massive territory inhabited by diverse peoples and cultures, all of whom paid regular tribute to the Persian crown, ensuring its almost limitless wealth. Its armies were composed of diverse contingents, including fearsome archers, specialized cavalry, and elite troops known as the Immortals. Moreover, its extensive network of roads and outposts enabled rapid troop mobilization and effective communication throughout the empire, making it a formidable opponent for any invader. Though still immensely powerful, the Persian Empire was facing a critical moment of internal vulnerability. Frequent power struggles among the nobility and the royal family had created deep divisions within the Persian court, weakening the empire's political cohesion. Ongoing palace conspiracies bred an atmosphere of paranoia and widespread distrust among military and political leaders, undermining the effectiveness of strategic decision-making. In addition, local rebellions frequently erupted in provinces like Egypt and Babylon, draining essential resources and dispersing forces that could otherwise defend the empire from outside threats. These combined factors made the Persian Empire vulnerable to invasion and presented Alexander with a remarkable opportunity to exploit and further destabilize a seemingly invincible enemy. The Macedonian army, meticulously trained and refined over the years by Philip II, was a formidable military force. The disciplined and well-armed Macedonian phalangites formed the core of this army. Alongside them stood the cavalry, comprising Macedonian horsemen and the renowned Thessalian riders, known for their superior battlefield skills. Additionally, Balkan contingents and Greek auxiliary troops, who saw this campaign as a chance for wealth and glory, completed Alexander's force. Though powerful, the Kingdom of Macedonia had limited resources to support a prolonged campaign. This imposed immediate pressure on Alexander. The Asia campaign had to be swift, efficient, and above all, profitable from the start to secure the supplies and resources needed for the Macedonian army's advance. Upon crossing into Asia via the Hellespont, Alexander immediately took center stage. His ship was the first to land on Persian soil. In a symbolic gesture, he hurled his spear from the ship onto the shore, watching it embed itself firmly in the sand. That act, heavy with meaning and witnessed by his army, proclaimed his claim to these new lands. Near the landing site lay the ruins of the legendary city of Troy. Deeply influenced by mythology and the epic tales of Homer, Alexander ordered several sacrifices to the gods, especially in honor of Achilles and Patroclus, the great heroes of the Trojan War. Amid the ceremonies, local priests led him to the tombs of the ancient Greek warriors, granting him a symbolic encounter with his legendary idols. The young king was especially moved before the tomb of Achilles, the hero who had been his greatest role model since childhood. There, at the resting place of the legendary warrior, Alexander made silent vows to surpass the deeds of the great Greek hero, determined to leave an everlasting mark on history. During his stay near Troy, priests presented him with supposed relics of the ancient heroes. Although Alexander doubted their authenticity, he chose to distribute them among his most distinguished officers and soldiers. This was a shrewd move, as it immediately boosted troop morale and reinforced the heroic image of the campaign. Officers proudly displayed these artifacts on the battlefield, feeling protected and blessed by the ancient gods. Meanwhile, word of Macedonians' imminent arrival spread rapidly through the Persian provinces of Asia Minor. At first, King Darius III of Persia underestimated the threat, but he soon realized he was facing a serious challenge. Persian generals, aware of the Macedonians' strength and efficiency, quickly began mobilizing troops to confront Alexander, recognizing the gravity of the threat. Military units were summoned from nearby regions to reinforce defenses in Asia Minor. Additionally, local leaders were given explicit orders to prepare fortifications and strengthen the garrisons of strategic cities along the main Macedonian routes. The Persians also attempted to recruit Greek mercenaries and experienced soldiers from distant regions, using their wealth to rapidly bolster their ranks. Despite internal tensions, Persian military commanders tried to present a united and solid front before their troops, knowing that soldier morale and strategic cohesion would be crucial to defeating the army led by the young Macedonian king. The Greek cities of Asia Minor, located along the western coast, had lived for decades under Persian domination, though they had strongly preserved their Greek culture and traditions. These cities, such as Ephesus, Miletus, and Halicarnassus, were important centers of commerce and culture, yet they were under the authority of Persian satraps, paid heavy tributes, and supplied troops to the Persian imperial army. However, Persian rule was often seen by the local Greeks as oppressive tyranny, fueling resentment and a latent desire for independence. Alexander counted on this very sentiment to quickly gain the support of these cities, offering them liberation from Persian rule and an honorable place within his growing empire. Aware of the need to act fast, Alexander began preparing his army to advance on the Greek cities still under Persian control. For him, it was essential to liberate these cities swiftly, gaining allies and securing valuable resources to sustain his campaign deep into the heart of the Persian Empire. Now, with his army fully prepared and driven by the promise of eternal glory and boundless riches, Alexander set out into the interior of Asia Minor, determined to face and defeat the Persians, embarking on a campaign that would shape his destiny and irrevocably alter the course of history.